Welcome back. In this final video for our Fauvism painting, we are going to be using Sharpie to kind of clean up some of the edges and some of the lines. While you're working, you're going to be using a fine point Sharpie and an ultra fine point Sharpie. So the fine point one, which is the one with the thicker tip to it, you're going to be using primarily in the foreground where the lines would be bigger because they're closer to us. And in the background, you would be using the ultra fine point Sharpie, which will give you a nice thin line, and this I would use for the background in the stuff that's just far away. Normally I would show you the Sharpie, how to use a Sharpie video, but remember you always hold it straight up and down so that the ink can run smoothly out of the little veins of that are like straws in the felt of the marker tips. Okay, I'm going to just kind of start right from left to right here. And I'm going to suggest that as you're working, you take the time to hold your marker straight up and down, of course. And then I would say you don't need to outline everything in like a very outliney, solid line shape. Notice that like right here, I stopped and I like missed a little spot. I did that on purpose to use what's called implied line. Alright, and I'm not going to go through and make everything super solid. I'm going to go through and make things fairly solid, but I'm also going to give myself a little leeway in making sure that I don't have to use a completely solid line the entire way through. Okay, and those places that I want overlapping, of course, I will use my Sharpie to like clearly show those overlapping lines so that we've got a nice clear version of what our overlapping should be and how those lines interact. Okay, so again, the only real technical information that I'd like to get out to you at this point is making sure that your overlapping is nice and neat, that you're holding your Sharpie straight up and down so you've got a nice line of your Sharpie, and then from there it's all just kind of working in the spaces and filling in. So at this point, Mr. Lundgren, you can fast forward through this video, and if I split it up into two videos because it gets longer, you can just zip through that one too, but in the second video I probably won't do so much instruction as just getting the job done. Okay? Alright, and so there for my finished design, you can kind of see how I've taken my thicker Sharpie and used it in the front. And of course I forgot right here. Taken that thicker Sharpie, used it in the front in my foreground, and then done the thinner Sharpie for like my houses here in the background, for my little field over here, and for the clouds that are up there. So that I've got my thin Sharpie and my thick Sharpie kind of working together. Notice when I did my thin Sharpie, I was a little more deliberate about where I left my gaps between my Sharpieing. Whereas with the thicker Sharpie, I made sure to make nice solid lines. So as you're working, thin Sharpie in the background, thicker Sharpie up in the foreground to make those differences. Alright, and that's how you finish your Fauvism landscape painting.